When you start bringing all these memories back, it's like yesterday. That's 20 years ago.
We had that momentum of knowing that we had a chance.
It was championship or bust, so we didn't care who was in our way.
To win a national championship, I was going to leave it all on the floor.
We all knew we couldn't come back to College Park without that trophy.
As the season went on and as they won all these games, got closer and closer and closer, I mean, you could just see that this is just destined to be, we're going to win the whole darn thing.
This one's over. Yeah, it's over. Duke with a 33-point turnaround after being down 22.
Gary worked so hard to get here and thought he had Duke on the ropes in that first half, which he did.
Gary, for you personally, so close and yet one game short, how's that feel?
Doesn't feel good, but we know what we have to do now at Maryland to get here. You can at least say to the next team that all things are possible at Maryland.
Well, it was a heartbreaking loss, but it was the first time the university's basketball team ever got to the Final Four. So it wasn't that heartbreaking because that's really hard to do, to get to the Final Four. It was not an easy year.
Yeah, 2001 was tough. I mean, it was a roller coaster type of year. I remember for a stretch we didn't play well. You know, the momentum began to build, and we made a great run in March, got to the Final Four, played against an experienced coach, an experienced team that had been there before, and we came up a little short.
The disappointment was so severe from those guys. And after a couple of days, we kind of got together as a team. Juan Dixon told me, he said, Mr. Holliday, next year we're going to go back and win this whole thing. Next year, you watch what Maryland's going to do.
I knew I had good guys coming back. We definitely worked toward that top goal in mind, and I think the experience of the Duke game in the semifinal really motivated us.
We had an opportunity to taste the blood. You know, we was able to see how it felt to lose. You know, we felt that hurt the whole year. A lot of teams that make it to the Final Four, they don't come back. We got to fall, and we got to get ourselves back up. I don't think none of the guys even went home. We stayed and played every day and worked out, trained all summer, so when the season came, we was already in tune.
We was in the small gym in Cole, one-on-ones, full court one-on-ones, shooting, morning, afternoon, night. We was in the gym grinding, competing, making each other better. And that allowed us to build a certain chemistry, camaraderie that we needed to go out and compete against other teams. We knew the following year that we would win a national championship, and we was able to accomplish that. We had a great leader in Coach Williams, our motivator, our teacher. He led by example just with his grind, and we just wanted to run through a brick wall for him.
I really admired the way Gary Williams handles the tradition of Maryland.
Gary Williams has taken them to higher heights since arriving at his alma mater 13 years ago.
I left University of Maryland, and my first year in coaching was a JV high school coaching job in New Jersey, and I thought I was going to be a career high school coach. And then to be able to come back 20 years later or so and be the head coach of Maryland, that was very special and something that, you know, I realized how fortunate I was to be able to do that. And it was always my goal each year to be a better coach.
Coach Williams was awesome. He pushed you, you know, he expected a lot from you, and he also was a good teacher and understanding the game of basketball. So I'm just thankful for having a coach like that.
He believed in us and we believed in ourselves. Gary Williams always gets the best out of his players, you know, real tough, competitive.
We're always competitive, but that's what Gary brought out of us. You know what I'm saying? You can't go on that court and slack. When you know what you would hear out of Gary's mouth, you out there playing.
He demands so much from his players and demand respect, and he had your back. Oh man, it's the most incredible coach I ever played for in my life. He's like a father figure.
I think when you look at the blend of guys that made up the national championship team, every single one of those players reflected the toughness of Gary Williams. And you talk about coaches and players being on the same page. Every single one of these guys loved Gary Williams, and these guys bought into every single thing he said.
They had that thing that's really difficult to quantify. They were a team that had belief, they were a team that had passion, they were a team that had a chip on its shoulder, that they followed the lead of their head coach. You know, Gary fueled them. It's his pride in this university. It's his pride in having worn the jersey. It's his pride in poking his finger back at anybody that said Maryland couldn't be that, proving that they could. He's one of one, you know, and it's why he'll be a legend here forever and ever.
The way the players respected him and the way the players played for him, it's tough to match that. That toughness that we had in 2002, that togetherness, that never say die mentality. You put all those things together, and boy, darn good things happen.
It was a team thing. It was the attitude of the team. They liked each other. They'd compete like hell during practice, but as soon as practice was over, there could have been a TV series if they had a camera hidden in the locker room, because a lot of funny things were said in there in the locker room after practices.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep that to myself. We had a blast. We had a great time.
Such a pretty boy. I don't know what his problem is. He's a pretty dude though. Look at him.
We genuinely loved each other on and off the floor, and it showed.
We was always together. If we going somewhere, look, we throwing the invitation to everybody, what y'all want to do.
On the court, it was evident that we all thrived off of each other's strengths, and we all helped each other out where we weren't as strong. We were that way off the court too. We were all, you know, always around each other, always joking around.
Off the court, you know, we were the best of friends. You know, we hang out, you know, go to movies. Like, you would think we were a family, because that's how we were when we hung out. And we were still very competitive, you know, playing games, video games, other sports, bowling. I remember me and Drew, we set up a little makeshift putt-putt thing in our dorm, and we used to play.
You know, we had a winter storm, we out there playing football. It's like we competed with everything we did, no matter what we were doing, whether it was after practice, trying to see who could do the best dunk.
We always play free throw competition, shooting competition. First person to finish, run to the locker room, you know, and try to lead the locker room first. It's like, it was just so competitive at everything. If you're not coming to compete, you can't be a part of this team. Like, the practice was way more intense than the games. And I think that's why our team was so successful.
Some of our best games were in practice. They weren't our opposition. They were playing against each other, because we had a lot of pride. But the big thing for them is they'd check their egos at the door when they came in for practice, for games. They wanted to win the next game. They didn't care who did it. They all were confident in their own ability. We had to get it done as a team, and that's why we were so good that year, is because we all felt the same way.
That's what got us where we was at. You know, we was able to depend on each other.
Everybody had one goal, and just to play hard and love each other and compete for each other.
All the individual, you know, accolades, we put that aside and we played for each other. And then we was able to do something awesome that a lot of great teams in the University of Maryland history wasn't able to do.
Thank you very much. Obviously, thank you last year for helping us get to the Final Four. We really made it without you. Last year, we really wanted to get to the Final Four. This year, we want to win the national championship. As you know, this is the last year at Cole Fieldhouse. We don't want to lose here this year. We got to win every game here at Cole Fieldhouse.
When they started the championship year, it was interesting that they lost the first game of the year. And I think everybody was wondering, well, what's going to happen now? Of course, at home, they didn't lose a game that year. Tremendous at Cole Fieldhouse.
Cole Fieldhouse.
Cole Fieldhouse.
Cole Fieldhouse.
The play in Cole Fieldhouse was electrifying. Just the energy, the heat. And we closed Cole Fieldhouse out the right way.
We welcome you back to Cole Fieldhouse in College Park. This brand building opened in 1955.
Yeah, I tried to put that out of my mind, that we were going to leave Cole Fieldhouse, because that meant so much to me. I mean, I played there. That was the hardest court you could ever play on. The wooden floor was put down over cement. When the other team came out for warm-ups, you knew they were having problems jumping, because there was no spring to the court. And that was a home court advantage that nobody really ever talked about, but it was there. And just the idea that the heat didn't work very well, so that on a cold January night, when the temperature got to be 100 degrees for the second half, that was to our advantage also.
There was just nothing like it. And Jimmy Patso, he mentions it to me, like there was this smell to Cole Fieldhouse. It didn't stink, it just smelled like Cole Fieldhouse. And you'd open up the door on a winter night and it was like getting hit with a blast furnace of heat and the sound of like the pep band and just, I know it was a scary place to play. And I know that last year nobody beat Maryland.
Cole Fieldhouse was a special place. What sticks out the most is just how loud it was in there.
You know, those games be sold out, you can't even hear. Now, you know Gary's loud. If you can't hear Gary in the timeout, you know what I'm saying? You know we got us a great environment.
It's electrifying. I remember everybody was, you know, the camp out, tickets, you had to arrive the day before in that gym, man. It just brought chills through my body.
You could feel the noise. It would go right through you. I would walk out of the tunnel there and turn toward our bench. There was 4,000 students right behind the benches. That's what Cole deserved. You know, they were there every game. They were the most loyal fans that you could ever have, and we left it in style.
Tonight marks the end of an era, the end of Terrapins basketball at Cole Fieldhouse.
We were very fortunate to play our last home game against UVA, and I remember it like it was yesterday. We scored 112 points.
We scored 112 points against a good Virginia team.
They scored 112 points twice that year in Cole. And Virginia was good. Maryland kicked their ass. No one would have stood a chance.
Sit back and enjoy and say goodbye to the winningest class in Maryland basketball history. This building is going to come down with emotion.
And it's something that, you know, I'll definitely cherish forever. Just having that opportunity to play in that historic building for 4 years.
For us to close it down undefeated, it meant so much to me to be a part of history. And it was about, you know, finishing up right, ending up strong. And right then I knew we had something special, you know. That's when everything just started taking off from there.
We're ACC champions. That's us, man. That's us. You know what? We did it in style. Now we can't be satisfied. You know, we got to go. Bring it in one more time. As champions.
We knew what we had to do. It's the tournament, you know. It's not like the NBA where you have a series of games. It's one game and you're out. And we were determined the whole year to get to this stage, and we weren't going to let anything, you know, get in our way of winning a national championship that year.
It was historic what they did at the time because they played the highest seeds you could play along the way, and they played big-time coaches and they played big-time programs. I mean, you can't go bluer blood than, in order, Kentucky, UConn, Kansas, Indiana.
The Terrapins rode to the championship game, the hardest, if you will, by seed in tournament history. The only ever to have to play the highest seed every game to the final.
Our path to a championship was not easy. They were great programs, you know, with storied histories.
It was tough. I mean, we had to be ready to play every night. No games was easy. Everybody on the team that we played had 2-3 NBA players.
It was NBA players from the Sweet 16 all the way through to the national championship game.
And we the underdogs. No All-Americans, no nothing. We just come in there just raw. And everybody always counted us out. We never had #1 ranking. That was crazy.
They had that tremendous chip in their shoulder, the nobody can beat us, you're not better than we are attitude and mental toughness. And every single one of those games got more intense, more exciting.
I think we had to overcome some things to get people to believe that we could be as good as anyone in the country. And the regional in Syracuse, when we defeated Kentucky and Connecticut before we played, I thought they would be our toughest games. Kentucky was coached by Tubby Smith, good friend of mine, good guy, and I knew his teams would play really hard, and they did. And the Connecticut game, that was the best game for our run in the NCAA tournament that year. And it was just an incredible game, the quickness of the game, the plays that were made. I mean, both teams were really good defense, but yet we really couldn't stop each other. When it came right down to it, when we were either going to win or lose the game, you know, Juan Dixon hit a big three to tie it up, and Steve Blake hit the three to put us up by 3. And either one of those shots, if they're missed, we probably lose the game.
The UConn game probably could have gone either way. That was the best game of the tournament. But I think it with Kansas, I believe, is the best Maryland basketball I've ever seen in my life.
When they got to the Final Four in Atlanta and they beat Kansas, Juan Dixon was the guy that kind of put the team on his shoulders and carried them.
All of a sudden, I'm calling timeout. We're down 13-3. I'm ready to go off. You know, I was never known for being especially calm on the bench. And I look out in the court, and here's Juan Dixon. He's got Chris Wilcox by the shirt because Chris hadn't gotten a couple rebounds he should have gotten. I just let Juan go, and he said whatever I wanted to say to Chris. And we went back on the court, but the difference between Juan Dixon and a lot of players, he hit straight threes, so all of a sudden it's anybody's game.
There was a stretch there from that timeout until there was about 5 minutes left where Maryland just obliterated a great Kansas team.
20-point lead for the Terrapins.
I mean, they were demonstrably better than the teams they played.
Once we overcame Kansas and beat them, we was like, okay, now we got one more game. So we all locked in, tuned in. You know, every guy in the locker room, we all bought in that we knew we wasn't going to leave Atlanta without that trophy.
Maryland on Monday night will play, and they will seek the 2002 National Championship. On to the final for the first time in school history.
Now they're going to play Indiana. Are they going to be the team that lost the 4 games on the season? Are they going to be the team that won 13 straight, that didn't lose a game at Cole Fieldhouse? I kept thinking back to what these guys had said the year before. We're going to make Maryland proud, and the rest is history.
And welcome to the Georgia Dome for tonight's championship game.
Like right there, like we can taste it, we can smell it, we can feel it. We just got to go take it.
I'm walking out in the Georgia Dome. It's a long walk from the locker room to get to the benches, and you have to be nervous. I mean, you walk out in front of 60,000 people.
And from Maryland, Gary Williams.
My good friend Dave Gavitt came walking over. He said, take advantage of this. You never know when you get back. This is your game to win. That kind of calmed me down a little bit, and then getting out there, I felt we were really ready to play.
Number 3, Juan Dixon.
A lot of emotions going through my head just from day one, back when I was 18, 19 years old, when I accepted the Ford Scholarship. Everything that we accomplished up until that point. Doing my pregame speech with the guys before we ran out to warm up, I got so emotional. I was crying, I was bawling, I couldn't speak. I knew that I was going to do whatever I had to do that game to win a national championship. I was going to leave it all on the floor.
All right, the tip controlled by the Indiana Hoosiers.
You get to the national championship game, sure there's going to be nerves when you start off. It's not going to be the same until you get in the groove of things and the rhythm of the game.
We just were so excited, man, that we got there, man. And a lot of nerves was involved. You know, me, Lonny, and Juan being seniors, you know, we were just trying to have in our career in a perfect setting.
We were so hyped, and all those buzz and jitters, all that stuff, you know what I'm saying, it showed.
And Indiana came out with a great game plan. They were physical.
It was a pretty messy game to start off with.
A lot of unforced turnovers.
And Indiana's a team that's not going to let you get away from them.
Nerves all over the place, fully exposed.
It is really amazing. Maryland is not taking advantage of the possessions that they have.
Maryland could have blown this thing open. Coverdale banks it home. A 7-2 close to the half for the Hoosiers.
Talking about a Maryland team is the only team in the country to beat #1 Kansas and Duke. But tonight looking like a team that's totally confused. See Indiana gaining confidence with every possession. Gary Williams getting very exasperated over there, Jim. He knows his team is playing a game that he's not familiar with. Another good position.
Jeffries, count the basket. Indiana has its first lead of the final.
Maryland lost the lead, and you're like, no, this isn't going to happen.
Yeah, Indiana made a run at us in this second half, but Juan Dixon going down the left baseline where he just pulled back, and it was kind of the shot that if he could get to that position on the floor, you pretty much knew he was going to make the shot.
Steve Blake was able to penetrate. Fife lost me for a second. I remember drifting to the corner. Steve Blake hit me with a great pass.
Dixon for the lead back, yes! Huge play.
Juan Dixon, man, he just clutched. I mean, at the bottom line, man, he was our leader. It was only a matter of time that he's going to come through for us, man.
From there, we didn't look back. We got the necessary stops. It got our energy going again.
A 22-5 run. Back to that Dixon three-point shot just after Indiana had taken the lead.
This is the Maryland team we expected to see at the start of the game, Jim. That's a great pass by Holden.
Baxter with the slam. Mouton, what a save. Mouton gets a lot of the dirty work done.
Jim, this Maryland team has been very resilient in this game tonight. They're starting to celebrate.
There was no doubt in my mind that our guys would step up and do whatever it took. Everyone stepped up big time.
We was able to find a way to get it done. So many emotions came over me, and Taj knew what he was doing. He took it out. He was like, no, stay there. And I just got the ball and I launched it.
Dixon fires it up to the top of the Georgia Dome roof, and the kids have done it. Maryland wins their first ever national championship, holding up Indiana 64-52. And let's listen and look at the celebration.
And now, Sid Dempsey, the president of the NCAA, will present the national championship trophy to Coach Gary Williams and the Maryland Terrapins.
To be honest, all I remember is the final clock going off and, you know, Juan throwing the ball in the air and we were celebrating.
First thing came to mind was just throw the ball. And I see Blake, as the ball's in the air, he's like this.
My first thought for some reason was I'm gonna grab the basketball that Juan just threw up in the air, and so that's what I did. I chased it down, I grabbed it, and then I started hugging everybody and celebrating with everyone. And I still have that ball to this day.
Yeah, man, I roughed this G-Dub up, man. I wanted to pick him up, but I said, no, I can't drop this man out here. But, man, it was just that moment, man. We put in that work. All that work we put in, man, it finally showed up, you know what I mean? And we came, and that was time for us to celebrate, enjoy each other, man. Our families was able to see it.
Then going back to the hotel after the game, and the party continued in the lobby. The players come in. The band is there. Everybody's just going absolutely nuts.
I remember getting back to the hotel right after the game, and the place was bananas. Just everyone cheering, everyone having a good time.
You couldn't even see nothing in the hotel lobby. All you could see was red all the way through. And we pulled up on the bus, so many people, it was just red all the way down there. And I was like, no, that's why we won. The support was there.
You can see it on these people that support the University of Maryland basketball, how proud he was of the team, proud of Coach Williams and the coaching staff. It was just so much excitement. Like, it was incredible, 25 to 30 floors of partying.
You know, we all was all over the place in Atlanta, and we had a blast.
I was very proud of our team because everybody made the plane, which, you know, was debatable because we really celebrated that night.
To culminate everything we did, as we land at BWI, there are the fire trucks, and they got the hoses out, and they're spraying the plane. Then you get on the buses, and you're heading down 95, and there are helicopters above the buses filming. There are people pulled off on the side of the road, applauding the team. Pretty nice.
And the students, man, would just, listen, they wasn't gonna go to sleep till we pulled up, you know what I'm saying? And the support that we had, man, they appreciated, man, we appreciated them.
We came home right to go to Cole Fieldhouse and had another celebration. It was packed in there. It was just, everyone was just on a high, you know, on cloud nine, just celebrating something that had never been done before in the program's history.
Introducing each player, and each player, the roar of the crowd became louder and louder. Once Gary got up there, they just went nuts, absolutely nuts. And to see the faces of these kids and the smiles and just the outpouring of emotion was pretty good, unmatchable.
Walking into Cole Fieldhouse, I guess there was about 12,000 people there or whatever, and it was great to see that people cared that much about what we did.
It was just, like I said, it was just a moment for everyone, even for Maryland history, you know what I'm saying? For all those alumni that's always wanted to see a national championship come home, we brought it home for them.
As a young student athlete, you don't realize that you're playing this game for so many people who support the institution, support the program. And for us to go out and win that game meant the world to me.
I was thinking back of all the ups and downs that they had had since Gary took over the program and straightened things out. And you could feel it from Gary, who never really showed a lot of emotions publicly, but I think privately he was bursting with so much pride, and he knew how tough it was to get here.
I've had 20 years to remember the various moves that you make in your life to get to the position where you're the Maryland coach, and how that affected not only yourself but other people.
For him to offer a kid from Baltimore for a scholarship, like what is Coach Williams doing offering this skinny kid? He believed in me. We had the same mindset. We wanted to make sure that we showed him that we loved him, that we respect him, and that we're going to do whatever it takes to help him win basketball games. And we did just that.
A 2002 national championship team of Maryland, it's guys that bought into a coach who had fought and scratched to get back to his alma mater, and it basically saved this basketball program.
Thank you very much. We're Maryland basketball. This whole crowd, our team right now, our 2002 championship team, the students, people that have been students, alumni, boosters, you're all part of one of the great programs in the last 50 years. You're all a part of that, so thank you very much for coming out today. We appreciate it.
It's amazing that that much time has passed. It's a great reminder of how hard it is to do it. I've said the same thing forever, that winning a title in sports is like a down jacket. And if you have one and it gets old, you know, like the feathers will start coming out and whatever. But no matter how much time passes, you can slip that thing comfortably on and just be warm in the memories of what it was to win a title.
20 years later, to say that we were national champions and let you know, when you're a champion, people will never forget. You win championships, you leave a legacy, you will always be remembered. And our 2002 national championship team, Maryland fans, college basketball will never forget that team.
And 20 years later, man, we still talking about our national championship. So thankful and grateful I was part of that team.
Sometimes you say in life, man, you was the first to do this or the first to win a national championship at University of Maryland.
When I come back, you know, people always say, oh, thank you for 2002. So people, you know, are still grateful for what we did. Just being from the state of Maryland, from Silver Spring, I had a lot of pride wearing the Maryland jersey. After all the adversity we had been through, you know, playing in college for 4 years and, you know, your senior year getting to close it out with the national championship, you couldn't ask for anything better. We're all older now, you know, living in different states, but we still treat each other the same way we did in college, you know. We all have a little group chat. We all keep in touch like it's 2002.
20 years later, things really don't change. We'll still joke around, just as fun and easy, and I think it's pretty cool. I mean, that we can always come back to the university where we accomplish something great.
You know, you build a brotherhood and, you know, you leave a legacy as a group, and you will never forget those moments. And to this day, you know, we talk about it. They doubted Blake, they doubted Lonny, they doubted myself, and Mouton, and Drew, and Taj, and Calvin McCall by, you know, sticking together, believing in our coach, believing in each other, fighting. When things didn't look good for us, we stuck together, and we did something special, you know?
Dixon amazing. He has such great instincts in basketball. Well, Lonny Baxter with those strong hands, he pins the ball extremely well on both ends.
And Nicholas, the top sixth man at Maryland the last 2 years. Very nice move by Ryan Randall.
Holden, been a solid player in this tournament for Gary Williams.
No one in the United States and the college level goes up as high as Wilcox.
Great job by Steve Blake. Sensational.
They're moving it on and moving over Byron Mouton.
Gary, his alma mater, for the national championship.
You kind of got this lump in your throat a little bit, that look how far we've come. Look how much work that this team has put in to get to the national championship. And I think back to the night in Minneapolis the year before. We had it right there. We let it get away. So what do you want to do next year? Coach, we're going to come back. We're going to win the whole damn thing. And the kids have done it.